Good afternoon, everyone. This is Marie Sullivan, and we're convening for an agenda review on Tuesday, June 16th. I want to note that this is all going to be hosted by Elza Macias. So welcome, Elza. You're totally in charge this evening, I understand.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You'll do a great job. I know. Thank you. Also, because this is an agenda review, I don't expect that this will go long based on the agenda, though you never know. And so that what I'd like to remind everyone is when you want to speak, please identify yourself. And remember that mute is a wonderful thing unless you need to speak or are asked to offer comment. And with that, then I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to call roll for the board members with the notation that Mr. Hendricks will not be in attendance at today's meeting. So with that, Ms. Maya?
Present.
Ms. McGrath?
Present.
Dr. Narini?
Present.
Mr. Saar?
Present.
Dr. Thor?
Present.
Ms. Nguyen?
Present.
Thank you. Full complement of board members with Mr. Hendrick absent. So moving into the agenda, you will note on the draft agenda for the June 23 meeting, our first item of business that day will be the public hearing on the proposed budgets for Gateway, Early College High School, and Phoenix College Prep Academy. Once we have had that public hearing, we will move into the regular meeting with a call of order and update reports as noted on the agenda from Student Life, Faculty Executive Council, Adjunct Faculty, Maricopa Student Senate, and there will be no emeritus awards, and Dr. Gonzalez will provide an update at that time. Before we do go into the full agenda review, what I will plan to do is read each item for the record and then ask if there's any comment. Before I do that, though, Dr. Gonzalez, is there anything you would like to add to today's meeting agenda?
President Sullivan, members of the board, I don't have anything to add at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will also note that item 13.1 on this agenda has been removed. There is some further tweaking that needs to be done, so we will not be taking it up either in discussion today or at the board meeting next Tuesday. So please note that for your agenda. With that then, I will move past 10.1 and start us out with item 11.1, approve new grant award from Arizona Commerce Authority, Arizona Small Business Development Center Network Grant Program. Any comments? Next item, 11.2, approve new grant award for CARES Act, Arizona Small Business Development Center Network Grant Program. Are there any comments? Item 11.3, approve intergovernmental service agreement between Maricopa Community College District on behalf of Gateway Community College and Arizona State Board of Nursing for nursing practice assessment evaluations. Any comment? Item 11.4, approve district marketing to contract with any approved vendor under RFP 3447-6 for digital marketing services not to exceed $7 million for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. Are there any comments? Item 11.5, accept an award for year 4 of a 5-year grant from the National Science Foundation in the total amount of $127,275 to Estrella Mountain Community College for the academic success and professional development project-based engineering excellence transfer academy across Arizona. Any comments? Item 11.6, accept an award for year 4 of a 5-year grant from the National Science Foundation in the total amount of $125,000 to Mesa Community College for the academic success and professional development project-based engineering excellence transfer academy across Arizona. Any comments? Board members, I might add, I know that we have a significant number of administration and other faculty and representatives and staff on this call. So if you do have any questions at this time, there are people available to answer any inquiry or make comment to any question you might have. Moving on to 11.7, accept an award for year 4 of a 5-year grant from the National Science Foundation in the total amount of $125,000 to Phoenix College for the academic success and professional development project-based engineering excellence transfer academy across Arizona. Any questions, comments? Item 11.8, accept a new grant award for the Rio Salado College Bridge Pathways Adult Education and Literacy Program from the Arizona Department of Education. This new 4-year grant consists of this 1-year award for fiscal year 21 and 3 renewable awards for fiscal years 22, 23, and 24 based on available funding. The fiscal 21 award is for a total of $4,516,262,000, which includes $1,070,736 from state funds and $3,445,526 from federal funds. Any comments? Item 11.9, accept a grant award from First Things First in the amount of $300,000 to Paradise Valley Community College for the Professional Development for Early Care and Education Professionals Grant Program. This project will commence on July 1, 2020 and conclude on June 30, 2021. Any comments? 11.10, accept funding for year 4 of a 5-year grant award from the National Science Foundation totaling $125,000 to Glendale Community College for the academic success and professional development project-based engineering excellence transfer academy across Arizona. Any comments? 11.11, approve an intergovernmental agreement between Gateway Community College and Santa Cruz County Provisional Community College District. Any comment? Being none, 11.12, approve curriculum proposals. Any comment on those?
Mrs. Sullivan?
Yes, Mr. Saar. I was so grateful.
figure.
Someone's voice spoke up. Thank you. Go ahead.
I've got, based on the fall semester and how we're going to hold classes and so forth, I got several questions that came up while I was looking this over. The first is, are the courses listed as lecture and lecture lab in this document actually being offered online in some cases?
Dr. Gonzalez?
Mrs. Sullivan, you were breaking up for me as you were describing the item number that you're referring to, and then I heard Mr. Saar's question.
We're referring to item 11.12, approval of curriculum proposals. Do you need Mr. Saar to repeat his question?
Yes, please. That would make better sense to me now. Thank you. I apologize for that.
Chancellor, the courses that are listed there often have lecture or lecture lab as their delivery method. I'm wondering in the fall semester if those classes can be offered online as an alternative.
Mrs. President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, I'd have to see what specific courses you're referring to. There could be some courses that, as we discovered, don't really lend themselves to move to an online environment quickly. And that's why we've had some spring courses that couldn't finish. Do you have any specific examples that we could maybe get a
Well,
response for you?
there's a lot of them, but
Mhm.
specifically, they're listed in this document as lecture or lecture lab. And I'm wondering if the colleges have the flexibility to actually offer those classes online instead, or online, in person, those different classifications that we've come up with in the uniqueness of this time. They're not
Yeah,
locked in.
right. I would say in the uniqueness of the time, absolutely. I mean, we did that for the spring semester.
Right.
So clearly there was a number of classes that perhaps hadn't been approved for an online, but we had to move them online in response to the remote work and learning environments.
I was just hoping that that was the case. And then what percentage of the classes are being offered in online mode for the fall semester?
I would need to survey the colleges, Mr. Sar, to answer that question. I know I've had recent communication with at least one president who could answer that question for us today. I don't know if he actually has that data in front of him, but if you would allow me to call on him, I could see if he has that information in front of him. And
Sure.
that may extrapolate out throughout the district, and that's Dr. Peterson with Chandler Gilbert, president of Chandler Gilbert Community College. Dr. Peterson, are you on?
Yes, President Sullivan, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, if you'll give me a moment, I'll pull this up in my presentation here. Oh dear. So an example of our schedule for the fall at Chandler Gilbert, normally we run about 12 to 15% of our courses online. The rest are in person. For fall, we have 4.5% of our courses planned in person, about 20% hybrid, and then 68% either internet or live online, and then the remaining other about 6%. So the 68%, almost 70% of our courses for the fall will be in internet online capacity as compared to the previous fall when it was about 12 to 15%.
Good, thank you. That's interesting, obviously. So in looking at classes on the internet and class searches, I'm curious as to know why online classes typically have more seats available than in-person or hybrid classes of the same course.
President Sullivan, Mr. Sar, that might have to do with physical capacity of where classes are offered on some campuses and courses in an online environment. There could be an opportunity to expand the number of students in there just because of physical space.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just, based on what we just heard, we should be, because regardless of whether there's 10 or 20 students possible in a classroom, there's still one faculty member. I'm wondering if we're going to be more efficient when it comes to, students per faculty member under this massively changing online environment. What is the district standard for minimum enrollment in a class? Is there one?
President Sullivan, Mr. Sar, I'm not sure if there's a number across the district that we use. I'm more familiar with what we use as a number at Gateway. And again, it depends on the class. There are some that we allow to go forward because they may be a terminal course for a sequence, but typically a go no go is generally around 14 or 15 students per class, and that allows for financial stability in those instances. But there could be instances where there might only be 6 or 7, but perhaps that's a an end of a math sequence course, or it's part of a cohort that absolutely needs that class to complete. Maybe they started off with 14 students as a part of the cohort, maybe 20, and through attrition, we may have lost some along the way.
Good, makes sense. Are students being referred to classes for colleges when a class like that doesn't have the minimum enrollment? Especially since so many of these are currently online. Faculty member can be from anywhere teaching the same course. Wondering if we are doing a good job of helping the students make sure that that class, for example, you just described, maybe there's that same situation at 2 or 3 other colleges that we could combine into one class.
Sure. President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, I don't know what type of coordination is going on across the district. So I'm really speaking from my experience in my time as president of Gateway. And what I can tell you that our advisors, when working with students, would do anything they can do to help them to make a schedule that was needed. And if that meant suggesting that they take a course down the road at Phoenix College or up at Paradise Valley, for example, they would let them know that.
Yeah, another example that was in the data we got today, Scott's, for example, is unable to offer all the courses required to complete. The program happens to be in Android app development and others. Therefore, they're deleting that program for their college. And I'm taking the students that are looking at going to Scottsdale. I'm hoping that our advisors at Scottsdale and similar situations throughout the district don't just point them to another college to look for something, but actually help them enroll in another college's class if it's the same class, obviously. And the process, we can fill more classes with those that don't make it.
Yes, President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, I couldn't agree with you more that now would be a time for us to collaborate as much as possible in ensuring that if our students aren't able to get a complete schedule or a course that they're looking for at one college, that we're aware of what our sister colleges offer to keep them in our system and help them complete as quickly as possible. So I totally agree with you.
And especially in the online world, I mean, but on the other hand, does it make any difference where in the district a student attends within our guided pathway structure, for example?
President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, no, it does not.
Well, you know, all those classes are that we added, I think, are, especially the occupational ones, are right on line with what the industry is looking for. So I appreciate the work that our faculty and others have done to put those in front of students.
Yes. President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, back to your earlier point, you know, would those courses count across other colleges in the guided pathways model? That's the beauty of the guided pathways model. And so many faculty and leaders across the colleges came together to align curriculum. And in many instances, it may have been the first time that some of those groups were collaborating to, you know, establish some consistency from course to course, and especially determining what equivalence would be.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing a greater collaborative effort there as a result of guided pathways.
Well, there's lots of factors that students look at. Number one are textbooks. Some faculty in the same class have a textbook, and others in the same class, but a different faculty member, have no textbook, so they use the online resources. So students have a choice, and if they can bounce between colleges and pick the faculty member in the class that best meets their needs, I think that's where we've been trying to get to for a lot of years.
That's correct. And President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, if students are, you know, scheduling courses based on the types of textbooks that are required or not required on our Open Educational Resources website, students can search courses that only use the OER in place of textbooks. So in those instances, they may not be required to buy anything as a quote unquote textbook for their course.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez and Mr. Saar. Mr. Saar, going forward into next week, do you anticipate further questions on this topic, or allowing it to move through consent agenda?
No, it's fine in consent.
Okay, thank you. With that, then, I'm going to move to business services, starting with item 12.1, where it would be adopt the 2021 proposed budget for Gateway Early College High School in the amount of $2,667,209. Any comment on that? Item 12.2, adopt the 2021 proposed budget for Phoenix College Prep Academy in the amount of $2,243,958. Any comment there? The next series of items will be to approve different items here. So 12.3, approve issuing a job order contracting purchase order in the amount not to exceed $433,220 to SDB Contracting Services to remodel existing space at the Phoenix College Art Building to create a recording studio for the music department. Any comments? Being none, item 12.4, approve a job order contracting purchase order in the amount of $320,842.85. Okay, never mind, just scratch what I'm trying to say there. $320,842.85 to SD Crane Builders to replace, I think it's Celestry windows and associated roofing repairs of the Natural Sciences Building at Scottsdale Community College. Any comments? But this is going to be an easy meeting next week. Item 12.5, approve issuing a purchase order in the amount of $457,142 to Baker Copeland LLC for multiple deferred maintenance projects that includes and supports replacement of the mortuary science building mechanical unit at Chandler Gilbert Community College Williams campus. Any comments? Item 12.6, approve issuing a purchase order in the amount not to exceed $490,000 to Cayente Construction, Inc. for remodeling in the North Campus Complex building at South Mountain Community College for the Construction Trades Institute. Any comments? Yes, Mr. Saar.
Couple questions. You know, I'm obviously not crazy about this expenditure. Do we have any current enrollment data for this program? I know we just hired 3 faculty members for it, but you know, everything that I've seen online, maybe 3 people enrolled in this program. So I'm just wondering, somebody has some students in their back pocket they haven't put online yet.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, if I could ask Dr. Olson to respond to that question, President of South Mountain Community College, I would appreciate the opportunity for her to do that.
Thank you.
Chancellor, I ask that we have our VP of Learning, Dr. Klein Nemuel, report regarding this. It's under his supervision.
Okay.
Good afternoon, President Sullivan, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity. This is Klein Nemuel, the Vice President of Learning at South Mountain Community College. Mr. Saar, thank you for your question. Currently, we have 6 students enrolled across the 3 trades. And while that may not sound too impressive right now, all 6 students are enrolled in all 16 credits of certificate level 1. We are currently actively marketing via our website, in addition to a specific campaign dedicated to recruiting for these 3 trades. In addition to that, our partners have committed to sending out messages to their networks as well. As you mentioned, Mr. Saar, we've recently hired the 3 faculty members, and you know, I've been involved in these programs for some years, and that tends to provide a little bit of a bump when we've got committed and passionate faculty members who are willing to go out and recruit. So we've met with them on a weekly, if not every other day basis since they started with us, and are committed to building the program. So we're if anyone has students in their back pockets, we're open for business and we're ready to take them.
So you know, we talked earlier about minimum requirements for enrollment on a class. Looking at Mesa's construction program, it's different than yours, obviously, but has some similarities, and they're half full and at minimum, and more than that in some of the classes. I'm wondering if we don't make the enrollment at South Mountain on these programs this year or this fall, for example, would you be willing to divert those students to enroll in those similar programs at Mesa, for example?
President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, thank you so much for your question. You know, we remain committed to this program happening. We really haven't explored those sorts of options. We've certainly been in contact with our colleagues at Mesa Community College and others, and have a lot of respect for the work that they're doing there, and also recognize, as you mentioned, that the structure of their program, the content of their program is a little bit different from what we're offering, you know, and the way we're offering it is a little bit different as well. One of the distinguishing characteristics of our program is that students are required to enroll in all 16 credits of the certificate. And I think that's really going to help with retention and completion, treating our students as a cohort, whereas at other institutions, and not necessarily just in Maricopa, they're not required to enroll in all 16 credits all at once. So we respect the work of our sister colleges, but again, are really committed to building our program and have received a lot of support from our industry partners, and are confident that the enrollment numbers in those programs will continue to grow.
Well, you know, I hope it does, because the industry certainly needs the talent, but I'm also concerned that we're throwing $500,000 of capital into this program, and the salaries and benefits of 3 faculty members, and you know, we're 11 weeks out from first day of class, and there's 6 people. I just want to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do as a governing board, and make that we make the best use of the money that taxpayers give us to educate our students. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, on that item, Mr. Saar, will you want further follow-up next Tuesday?
No, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. I'm moving on to item 12.7. Approve a 1-year annual lease agreement with Tree of Life Preschool Academy located at South Mountain Community College North Campus Complex on the 24th Street site. The Tree of Life Preschool Academy will occupy approximately 6,487 square feet in the North Campus Complex building. The daily rate is $237.97 for 250 days, for a total annual rate of $59,492.50. The initial lease term will be from July 1, 2020 to June 30, 21, with options to review for up to 2 additional years with a 3% rental rate increase per renewal term. There will be a disclosed potential reduction in rent due to COVID-19 orders as needed. Are there any comments on that item?
Mrs. Sullivan, this is Dana again.
Sir.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
curious, that's an awesome operation on South Mountain campus, and not just for um, students, but for staff as well. I'm just curious to know at the present time what the ratio is of our students, youngsters, compared to our staff and their family members.
Dr. Gonzalez?
President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, could you clarify that question? What do you mean by the ratio between faculty, students, and staff?
Well, over the years that they've been there, it's been a mix between the young kids that are enrolled there, where they come from, whether it's from our students or whether it's from our own staff. And I'm just curious to know if that, call it a ratio or just, a percentage is all I'm looking for.
Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Saar. I would again call upon Dr. Olson to help answer that, to respond to that question.
President Sullivan, Mr. Saar, members of the board, Chancellor, we could get you the exact information. We could send you an email tomorrow with those percentages. That's something that I don't have in the, off the top
Sure.
of my head. I know students use it. There's a few staff that use it and community members use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are community members.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're very appreciative of the site.
No,
And our students are very appreciative to have childcare on site again. So it's really a win-win partnership.
couldn't agree more. I'm just curious to know, because it's one of the childcare that does provide that to staff in a large number. I'm just curious to see if that is still holding. So if you want to give that number throughout the week, that'd be fine. But give the information to all the board members if you would.
Okay.
Yes, that was going to be my follow-up. As you send the email, please include all board members on that email, Dr. Olson.
Okay, we will do that. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Any other comments on this item? Board members, are you still out there? Okay, item 12.8. Approve the selection of McCarthy Building Companies to provide construction manager at-risk services for RLS-PS remodel and expansion project at South Mountain Community College. The pre-construction phase services fee is $195,843. Wait a minute, is that a dozen? 195,843, including reimbursable expenses. Sorry, I almost missed that period. Any comments?
It's me again, and I'm not picking on Phil to just
Delighted you're at this meeting. Go for it.
You've got a lot of stuff going, which is good, but and this is not specific to South Mountain necessarily, but the fact that we're at the higher percentage of online programs, now obviously that's because of current situations, but if time goes on and we realize that that's a very efficient way to offer our instruction, our need for physical plant in terms of classrooms especially may not be as it has been over the last decades. So I want to make sure that we're kind of looking at that and making sure that those capital expenditures that we're making have an alternative return if in fact we don't have that number of actually coming onto our classes anymore. That's just a comment. Thank you.
Any other comments from board members on that?
Mrs. Sullivan,
I would have to agree. Yes, who is that? Dr. Thor? Was that
Mrs.
you?
Nguyen. No, it was Mrs. Nguyen.
Sorry, okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mrs. Nguyen.
I understand where Mr. Saar is coming from. I also think we have a lot of deferred maintenance and there's a lot of things that we need to do. And most of these expenditures are, although they're above the threshold, they're not extreme. And there's a lot, and I do believe that we will be, I think there's a lot of research still being done right now, but that in person and on campus seems to still be holding an edge over the online. We've been forced to do the online. I'm hopeful that when we can return to campus that we will And hopefully then we will have two sources of enrollment, online and in person. But I think the capital expenditures that we're voting on are necessary, and I would politely disagree with what Mr. Saar is proposing. Thank you.
Mr. Saar, do you have any other comment?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, all I heard was that you're asking for us to be cognizant of our capital expenditures in light of a new environment of more or increased online capacity. So I think that's worthwhile for any visioning, especially as we see the impact of online learning around us. With that, I'm going to move to item 12.9, approve the selection of Gensler to provide architectural and engineering consulting services for the LSPS remodel and expansion project at South Mountain Community College with a design fee of $1,399,173.00, including reimbursable expenses. Any comment on 12.9? Being none, we'll move to item 12.10. Approve a 3-year contract and authorize the expenditure of budgeted funds not to exceed $870,000 annually to cover system-wide VMware licensing and services in use at the District Support Service Center, Scottsdale Air Park, and 10 college data centers. Licensing and services will be obtained from Insight Public Sector Partners contract. Is there any comment on item 12.10? Being none, we'll move. There is no 13.1 item for this upcoming meeting. We'll move to 14.1. Any comments?
Yes, Jean McGrath here.
Yes, Mrs. McGrath.
I would like a more thorough report on this. We have, can you hear me? There's a lot of background noise there.
Yeah, I can hear you. Ms. Macias, can you hear? Hello?
Hello?
Dr. Yeah, I'm just wanting to confirm that others can hear you. Dr. Gonzalez, can you hear Mrs. McGrath?
Yes, but as she indicated, there was quite a bit of feedback.
Okay, I'm not getting that on mine, but whatever, please go ahead, Mrs. McGrath. Let's see where we go.
Correction, that wasn't feedback, it was background noise. Someone had, at least it wasn't a barking dog this time. I would like a more thorough report on employment and separations. We have 20 hires in this past quarter, and in light of our dropping enrollment, I think we deserve a little better explanation of what we're replacing and what we're doing with brand new. And I don't understand why in this economy and this enrollment problem, we are making new hires. And we have 5 new hires, and I would really like a better explanation of why we are hiring more people. Just doesn't make any sense to me, and this report is very brief. In fact, it's described as in summary, and I don't want an in summary. I'd like a more complete report. That's my request. Thank you.
Mrs. McGrath, perhaps you could work with, through Dr. Gonzalez to Ms. Kelly to understand exactly what is necessary and what is appropriate for us, or for you, so that we can attend to that matter.
Okay, and it isn't just for me, it's for the entire board. I think that we deserve a more in-depth report.
Yeah, I added and us, but thank you. All right, comment made, and then monitoring reports, item 15.1, budget analysis report. Any comments on the general unrestricted fund for the 11 months ending May 31, 2020. Any comments? And at the meeting then on the 16th, we'll conclude with governing board reports and any summaries from governing board members. And before I close, I know we've had some public participants listening to this meeting. If there's any interest in making a comment to an item, that can be addressed at the next board meeting. If there's another question that needs to be asked, I believe one can communicate through Ms. Macias of our board. So with that, are there any other comments by board members or requests for the good of the order pertinent to this agenda or pertaining to this agenda? If not, I want to thank you all for your time on a Tuesday afternoon, and next convening will be next Tuesday, and we'll close out the year again with a remote meeting, and hope that when we resume our activities in August, we will do so robustly and in person. So with that, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.